allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act statement, please.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was forwarded to the official township newspapers, posted on the bulletin board and township website on November 3rd, 2022. This meeting is being videotaped and will be on Channel 9.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Flame?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes, here. Taking a motion to open the first public portion of the resolutions and ordinances below.
Make a motion to open the first public portion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Good evening. Chris Sayers, 184 Malaga Lake Boulevard. I just wanted to take a second, because I know I tend to complain a lot, so I wanted to have a rare instance of praise. I appreciate everything you guys are doing to preserve farmland. I think it's important to keeping our township rural, and I just wanted to thank you for that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a motion to close the first public portion.
Make a motion to close the first public portion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Take a motion to approve correspondence and reports.
Make a motion to approve the correspondence and reports.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Take a motion to approve the minutes from September 12th, 2023.
Okay, so I wasn't here. Am I allowed to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from September 12th.
It's going to have to second.
Second.
Are you're going to abstain, Heather?
I have to recuse myself, yes.
It's ministerial, it passes 2-0 if you both vote in favor.
No doubt for both of them now.
Then the minutes are not approved, and then have to be relisted for next meeting.
Barb? You're going to take that.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
I have to recuse myself.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Good. Need a motion to approve the bill list.
Make a motion to approve the bill list.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Taking a motion to approve mobile food handling license for Miss Annie's Barbecue.
Make a motion to approve mobile food handling.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Barb, where's that at? Where's that going to be?
It's
Set up
Showers.
somewhere?
It's already there. It's at Showers.
Oh, the farm? That's the first one. Resolutions. Resolution 219-23, authorizing the tax collector to grant tax exemptions for a totally disabled veteran.
Make a motion for R 219-23.
Second.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Resolution 220-23, authorizing the tax collector and chief financial officer to refund overpayment of taxes.
Make a motion for R 220-23.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Resolution 221-23, authorizing the Township Committee to enter an agreement with South Jersey Land and Water Trust for farmland and open space preservation.
Make a motion for R 221-23.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Resolution 222-23, authorizing the mayor to sign grant agreements for the acquisition of development easements on properties entering the farmland preservation program.
Make a motion for R 222-23.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Resolution 223-23, authorizing the sale of surplus real property by public auction pursuant to NJSA 4812-13. And second. That's second.
Make a motion for R 223-23.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Resolution 224-23, authorizing the sale of surplus property, personal property no longer needed for public use through GOVDEALS.com, public online auction.
Make a motion for R 224-23.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Resolution 225-23, acknowledging and directing Township Chief of Police to complete contract to purchase new body worn camera equipment and monitoring system.
Make a motion for R 225-23.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Freeman?
Yes. Is this stuff going to last longer than the last stuff?
Hope so.
What was that, 3 years?
Yes,
Wow. That was what, 78,000?
something like that, yes.
Well, that was not including all the assessments, correct?
Right.
Resolution 22623, authorizing the purchase of 2 Ford Explorers via a nationally recognized co-op with Sourcewell from Enterprise Fleet Management to replace patrol vehicles 1108 and 1120.
Make a motion for R 22623.
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Flame?
Yes.
Mayor Burton?
Yes. Can I get a motion for the introduction of the following ordinance? The public hearing will be held on October 10th, 2023. It's ordinance 1823. It's going to amend ordinance 9/2013 and the code of the Township of Franklin to address safe traffic control for construction, repair, and maintenance of streets and highways, and third-party police department overtime, respecting both traffic and non-traffic duties.
Make a motion to introduce O 1823.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to open the second public portion for any comment?
Motion to open the second public portion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Harry Kennedy, 1578 Fry's Mill Road. As you're probably aware, there was a lawsuit filed in reference to an Oprah request. Materials were claimed to be voluminous in nature, and I just had a question to ask. Are we sure that all those emails were released to the best of your knowledge, or to the best of the clerk's knowledge? Were all of those emails released?
If there's questions, we can go through the litigation, through the attorneys.
Okay, fine.
Questions?
Yeah, the other thing I would, we can certainly always go through the attorneys, which of course adds to the legal costs for the township. And again, obfuscation seems to be, as I said before, the name of the game. And again, it's not your money, it's the taxpayers' money. So why not go through the attorneys? Why not just answer the question? But liability occurs and accrues to the person not providing those documents. And that liability should be very clearly stated. Secondarily, when looking at all the legal documents that are available on the deliberative process, it's amazing that the courts in most cases rule that the deliberative process, again, has to be very clear and a policy matter. To claim deliberative process on the matter of a couple lawsuits where the Ferrucci's were involved and where Mr. Doyle's neighbor was involved was disingenuous. Again, what you would do in terms of a deliberative process in trying to withhold that information can only be speculated. It's sort of like voting in private when you have a zoning board meeting as to why you do that. Again, it's obviously against the law, but you did it anyway. Not you, Mr. Mayor. You weren't there. The zoning board did it. You can't vote, and you weren't there. No, the zoning board did it first. You're right, the planning board did it too. But again, that was just a poll. We can call that a poll. But again, it's the same thing as voting in a process in a closed session. But you, again, as not sitting on the zoning board, weren't part of that. But obfuscation is great. Withholding information is great. Not giving it is great. Not giving all the emails is great. But just be aware, there are liabilities, there are legal niceties involved, there are problems that are going to occur for the township, and it's not a smart way to do business. You talk about transparency, and then you're not transparent. And again, it's very clear what the deliberative process is, and it's also very clear that not all those emails were turned over. And why they weren't turned over, I'm sure we'll find out. It'll be well after the election, but as all of you know, elections aren't the only way to deal with illegalities or with misdemeanors or with problems, whatever they might be. As a former township committeeman found out 7 times in terms of an ethics board, there are other ways to deal with it, and there are many more serious problems than that. So we'll move into the future, we'll deal with it at the appropriate time, and again, it should be very interesting to see what the outcome of the court will be. Thanks for your time, Mayor.
Good evening. Leah Vasallo, 560 Delsey Drive in Malaga. I had a question related to a resolution actually from last year, but it came up in the planning board last week. It's Resolution 148-22, and the title is Approving the Contract for Madden & Madden, PA, to assume the defense on behalf of the Franklin Township Zoning Board of Adjustment and Franklin Township in the pending litigation entitled, and I won't bother reading the title, and then it lists the docket. But it was a particular area of litigation where both the zoning board and the township were listed as defendants. So my first question would be, I understand why you might want the same attorney because you're both defending the same suit, but shouldn't the zoning board have had to do something to approve that attorney as well?
For contracting purposes? Or-
Well, for representing the zoning board.
You'd have to talk to Mr. Borelli about that.
Well, we can't because he doesn't have a public portion in the zoning board meetings. So, and then separately, in the actual wording of the resolution, it says, and other matters as assigned is approved. So who assigns or how are other matters assigned to Madden and Madden?
This, if a zoning case comes up that there would be a conflict for Mike, he would be taking that on as well, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And what if it's not a conflict for Mr. Borelli? And I'm speaking specifically of related to the Kiefer Grachowski property and applying for a stay of the application through the court related to that property. I don't believe it's ever been listed as a conflict by Mike Borelli, but somehow this attorney has been assigned to that case. And actually, that particular instance is a planning board case. And I did ask, you know, how did this attorney come to represent the planning board? And nobody seemed able to answer that question. So my question again is the resolution itself left it open-ended as assigned. And I'm just curious, who has the...
At the end of the day, I would as the solicitor.
Okay, and have you assigned?
Yes.
And what have...
I'm aware that he's handling that matter, yes.
So which matters did you assign to him? Just that one?
Yes, I don't recall any others that have been, that I'm even aware of that are out there.
So just out of curiosity, I'm not trying to belabor the point because I've never dealt with this before. How does the solicitor of the Township Committee have the authority to independently appoint a separate attorney to represent the planning board in a case that doesn't involve the township, where the township is not a defendant?
Again, the boards, as you're aware, have the ability to appoint their representative.
But apparently they didn't. I mean, there's...
I'll have to review that.
So did you assign him or no?
Well, again, it's a two-part process, as you know, because the Township Committee has to handle the finance of the boards and the defense thereof.
So you would assign it after they...
If your question is to the appointing authority to represent a statutory board, as you said, they appoint their...
Okay, because I've never seen anything in the zoning board or the planning board that shows that they have appointed Madden and Madden to represent them for anything. So it seems to me that there's an issue there with the independence of the boards. If you could look into it, that would be great. Thank you.
Good evening, Christopher Sayers, 184 Malaga Lake Boulevard. Recently I had the privilege of attending the EDC meeting, and I discovered that we're going to be apparently home to another dollar store. And I mentioned it on Facebook, and the residents had a few choice words for the idea of having another dollar store in the township. If I can read a few. Do we really need another dollar store? How about fixing the parks for our kids? How many dollar stores can one township hold? Another dollar store? You can't throw a rock in Franklinville without hitting a dollar store. Another one, stupid, I hate that. 6 stores within 5 minutes of our house. It's crazy. Someone needs their approved stamp taken away. that's just the sampling of the comments. And I know Facebook isn't, an official source, but it's certainly a good sampling of how I feel the public feels about all these dollar stores. If you look online or if you do your research, dollar stores create many problems. Studies show increased crime, traffic congestion, but also probably even more importantly, they take away business from other established stores in the areas. I'm talking about like Walt's Grocery, Carollo's Deli, which has a selection of dry goods. Other stores in town that also need its share to serve the public, and dollar stores take away from that. And again, you've promised to keep the town rural, and I know you have a soft spot for our farms, and like before, I thank you for that. But I feel that there's more to a rural community than just farms. It's an atmosphere and a quality of life, and these stores do not improve that. They're an eyesore inside and out. Dave Marshall has belabored the point numerous times of what an eyesore it is and what a safety hazard it is, unfortunately. And again, these dollar stores are owned by individual owners and corporations that, even though they serve our community, they do not live in our community. Franklinville Dollar General, they get their tax bill mailed to Dallas, Texas. Harding Highway gets their tax bill mailed to Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Family Dollar in Malaga goes to Chesapeake, Virginia. Community Commons, they get their taxes sent to Vineland. Other ones, Delsey Plaza goes to Malaga. Walt's Grocery goes to Williamstown. The money that these mom and pop stores bring into the town, but they don't only just take from the town, they actually live here. They live in the community that they serve. So anyway, to belabor that point, again, now we're going to be getting another dollar store apparently off of 40. And these stores are not generally good neighbors. Unfortunately, it's just the truth. It's just what experience shows. However, I did a little research, and there are measures that other towns across the nation have done to stop the spread of these nuisance dollar stores. They've enacted formula business restrictions, which places a limit on chain stores in general, or they've enacted ordinances that focus on dollar stores specifically. Many communities limit the number of dollar stores allowed in town or enact distance restrictions, with these restrictions usually being set 1 mile to 5 miles apart. So I think it's pretty clear, at least from the sampling that I've seen on social media and in my talk with other residents, that they think it's ridiculous that we have all these stores in town, and they think it's even more.
I agree with you.
And they think it's even more ridiculous.
I knew nothing about this until I...
I'm not saying you do, but I'm saying there's things that other towns have done.
They haven't come here at all. We've heard about it, but
Matt, did you hear anything about this?
apparently they went to the
Jason,
county.
you're the one that heard about it. Where'd you and Ralph hear about it?
I was under the impression that it was, they were going to the conceptual design committee the planning board has.
Did they meet with anybody?
Yes. 2 Thursdays ago, they appeared with a Zoom meeting. They had their attorney, they had their engineer, they had, I guess, a member of the owner of the store. It is Dollar General. It is at the location of 555 and Route 40, and they asked what they needed to do. That area is zoned highway commercial. The next parcel is zoned light manufacturing. They do not want to have any entrance coming in from Route 555 because 555 is the border for Pinelands. They don't want to deal with Pinelands regulations. There will be no rear door, there'll be no exit, there'll be no sidewalk, there'll be no crosswalk to the school. We brought up questions about the school.
Who did they talk to get to that point? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. All I know is the chairman.
Nobody knows. They just got a hold of people and had a meeting, and no one knew about it.
It was conceptual,
Who from
nothing
the township?
approved.
Huh?
Who from the
Who from the township?
I don't know.
Who did they call?
Joe Pesh called me.
So, Chris,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to argue with you. The master plan is probably the time to...
Are you for these different kinds of restrictions or?
Yeah.
And look, and I'm not saying like we're too good for dollar stores. I mean, but it just seems like we have our fair share already.
But
And
I also think the county has gotten involved in
Yeah.
this, because when this was brought up at the last meeting, the county sent a denial letter to the conceptual plan that was sent to them due to all the roadway issues there.
I get that, Matt, but Like,
No,
don't you think we should have known about this, like, somehow? And I'm not
Yeah,
blaming
sure,
you.
absolutely.
I'm not blaming them.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, ordinances and resolutions that maybe restrict where these dollar stores can be built. Yeah, spacing, exactly.
He didn't call Chase, who's our zoning
Yeah,
guy.
exactly.
The three
Just something to think about. Thought I'd bring it to your attention. But I appreciate your time for it, and
I want 50 cents.
You're 99 now, not 50 cents.
50.
inflation, what are you going to do? All right, thank you for your time.
Jen DeTaco had no idea of it, I didn't know anything about it, and Chase was not contacted about it.
But it had to get on the agenda, right?
No, it wasn't on the agenda. This was a conceptual Zoom meeting that nobody from the township that works full-time was invited to. Right. Yeah, but our engineer was not there, correct, or was he?
Yeah, both our engineer and our planner was there.
Doxney and
Chris and Ed were there.
Interesting.
And they spoke the most as far as what was required for their
Things that
development.
need to know, nobody needed to know.
Welcome to the world of the residents. Dave Marshall, 67 New Road. I have a question about, and this is over the course of the year, obviously not everybody can make every meeting, but is there any type of regulation or standard on how many meetings you can not attend or maybe miss? And this is for committee and for appointed positions. Is there anything that, if you miss half of them, then you shouldn't be in that position? I'm just curious if there's any type of standard.
There is a standard, and I don't have it in front of me, but there are legitimate excused absences, so it's a fact sensitive, but there is a point at which people can be removed based on absence.
And that's why I was curious. I didn't know if there was anything official or not.
There is such a, yes.
And I have just a perspective. I'm sure almost everybody here has at some point in time gone to an amusement ride and see the sign or the warnings about flashing lights and things that they can cause. And one of the general descriptions you normally see is that warning, this ride or film, because you see it now on films too, contains flashing lights which may cause a health risk or may be sensitive or not suitable for anybody with photosensitive concerns. And some of those examples are epilepsy, ADHD, autism, and there's other cognitive disorders that can be affected. The reason I'm bringing this up is just to focus on one point of the dollar store, which is Chris has brought up, I brought up many times, is the lights are still flashing consistently. I went there right after the meeting, the last meeting where I was told it just didn't meet my standards, and I want to know how flashing lights that can cause a health risk meet anybody's standards. Just curious if anybody's looked into that or if it's still being addressed and whose standards meet that, being that was the point that was brought up.
Most of them are off. Last I was told by the police, there's only like 3 or 4 lights on that they're concerned about.
You had guys go out there, correct?
There's 9 lights that are on in the property consistently, all 24/7. They never shut off.
That's the ones in the building.
No, the one including the parking lot. And there's 4 lights in the parking lot that are sitting there flashing. Now, 3 of them are fortunately almost burnt out, so the health risk may be diminished. But the other one is sitting there flashing like a strobe light all night long. The main one right in the dead center of the property. There's absolutely zero way it can be missed. You can see it coming down the road. If you get a dark night, you can see it as you're driving up. The building's flashing.
So the Dollar General has had electricians out there. They said some kind of panel that needs to be replaced, but it's back ordered, they can't get it. So the landlord is actually the one who went out there with his own electrician and disconnected some of the lights that are flashing. But what ended up happening was, once he disconnected, now the other ones have begun to flash. So the concern, which talking to Matt, is that they are open at night. We don't want to basically shut down all their lights, and then we have employees there that are working in the dark in a parking lot, and then we're the ones that have forced them to turn all the security lights out.
Can we fine them and then waive the fines in good faith that we never replace it?
Well, there was a court date for this, and then they were told there was no infractions.
Well, no, they made a good faith effort in getting it corrected, the landlord, since we were getting nowhere at Dollar General. I presented everything to Mr. Ross, and he agreed that they had made a good faith effort. They were showing they were trying to get it, but if you can't get the equipment to fix it, how do you hold them accountable? It's a very similar situation what we have at Delsey with their concession stands. They're trying to do electric work, but they can't get the equipment in. So he did dismiss the tickets but we are able to come back if they do not fix it, and it will be a second offense. The tickets are not gone forever. It's a situation where they're showing good faith to try and fix it, and we're just waiting on the...
How long is it? Does it say how long?
I just talked to the landlord the other day. And
No, I
asked
don't
him,
understand, like, is there 30 days, 60?
no, we have up to a year.
So you waiting for electrical equipment?
Yeah.
Did you get a date?
No, it's to be determined. I think it's the same thing we're dealing with the Delsey
I can't
concessions.
imagine that those lights would require that.
No, it's a panel or something in the...
A panel, it's that hard to get a hold of.
It doesn't seem like it would be, but I'm not an electrician, but
I get it, like certain electrical stuff is just
it's that way with anything. There are certain things that are just not available. Yep, I understand.
not seeing what they have in there.
But, I mean, the flashing lights are going on a year now. You know, that was from one of the very first complaints. Now, there was 7 flashing lights, now we're down to 4, because the other 3 are burnt out. So, I mean, they've had a year to fix it to start with, and it's still going on. So, I hate, again, to use the term belabor, I hate to keep doing this. I'd rather talk about other things, but it's getting to the point where it's old. And as a resident that's near it, it's really old.
It's old.
It is.
I agree with you.
It's,
I don't even live in now.
see that? If you did, you'd be even more upset.
I don't know about that.
Well, if it was your neighbor, you'd be upset.
Once I close those blinds, it's all
Well, fortunately, I go outside. I don't stay inside all night long. So on occasion, I do see things in the world, and this is one of them. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing.
Good evening. Nancy Kennedy, 711 St. George Street. I first wanted to start by saying thank you to the Recreation Committee and especially Joe Belinsky, Rich Dalbenspeck, everybody who put so much time, I know Committeeman Marsh does as well, to Community Day. And it was very disappointing that it wasn't able to happen this year, and I'm sure it's especially disappointing for them as well because they do put so very much effort in. So I know I'm joined by a lot of residents in missing it and in appreciating the efforts that they make. So I did want to take a minute and say thank you. And then Matt, just to piggyback a little bit off of what Leah was saying, I know you weren't at the planning board meeting, but we did actually ask Chairman Petch about the representation by Madden and Madden, and he actually advised us, and I don't think he was misleading us, I think he truly didn't know. He said, no, that's not our lawyer. Our lawyer's Mike Borelli. So it sounds like there are some miscommunications somewhere about how different people got to different places. And if you could, I don't want to bother you, you know, and
That's
certainly...
not bother. I appreciate, like I said to Ms. Vasallo, I'll absolutely follow up on it.
If you could just shoot us an email whenever you get a minute and let us know, just so
I'll
that...
reach out to Mr. Chairman Pesh and Mr. Borelli and address it.
I appreciate that, thank you. And then the only other thing I wanted to say is, you know, we have some elections coming up in November, and the other day I just had a random thought that I thought was very interesting for Franklin Township residents, very germane, if you will. I was thinking that if Bill Clinton ran for Franklin Township Committee as a Republican, I wouldn't vote for him. He cheated on his wife, he lied to the people he served, and he raised our taxes repeatedly. And I thought, you know, even though that Bill Clinton, he's a really smart guy and he's a really good businessman and he's great at making money, if Bill Clinton ran for Township Committee, I wouldn't vote for him. In case there's anybody watching this meeting at home and wondering what I thought on that subject, I just wanted to provide that. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Brandell Bailey, 859 Delsey Drive. Recently I went down to the zoning office, which is over here, to get a letter notarized. When I got there, prior to that week, I came down 3 different times to get a deed restriction notarized. The first time they notarized it wrong. We went up to Woodbury, they said they don't know why the lady at the office signed this because she signed it wrong. So I had to go down to get a letter, something from my attorney notarized. I was from the gate, they said your name. Because my attorney has the same last name as you, this is what I was told. First of all, our mayor's last name is on here. We don't feel comfortable signing this. I said, well, excuse me. I said, so you're telling me he's the only one with the same last name? On here, it also says that, it says John Bruno Ferreira and Esquire. Everybody should know Esquire means. Yeah, I know. But it should say, it means attorney. So I said to him, that's the attorney out of Bergen County. They asked me what it was for. I don't have to tell them what it was for. All I have to do is identify myself. They said to me, because I won't tell them what it's for, that they can't do the notary. I said, well, I pay $8,000 in taxes every year. I don't come down to the meeting and complain about it. When me and my wife bought this house, we knew what the taxes were. We wanted peace and quiet. We moved down here from Monmouth, Ocean County. Every house is bunched up together. We wanted space. My wife doesn't like it down here. I love it. She doesn't like the country. I love it. But they went and got the administrator. He came out and piggybacked what they said. Said that, yeah, Bruno's name is on here. We don't feel comfortable signing this. I said, here you go again. Here you're saying the same thing that they said. I said, that has nothing to do with the mayor. This is the attorney's office. So then they said something about my license. They said my license doesn't match the address of 859 Delsey Drive. I told them, I said, well, listen, I come down here plenty of times. We were just in here prior to this 3 times in 1 week. And I come down here to get permits and everything else. I said, so it's never a problem then, but now it's a problem. So they said, well, your license says Towns River, New Jersey. I says, well, what happened with motor vehicle when COVID started, if your license, if I moved in 2021 and my license doesn't expire till 2025, they're not going to replace my license. They give you a piece of paper with your new address on it, and they tell you to keep it in your vehicle at all times. At this point in time, we came down, I'm driving my wife's car. So I said to them, well, I'll go down to my house and get it. Since all of a sudden, y'all act like y'all don't know who I am now. He said, this guy here tells me that, well, it doesn't matter if you go get that or not. We just feel uncomfortable signing it. We're not signing that. We're not notarizing it. So I'm just confused. I also had problems with him before. When I first came down in 2022, when we first moved here, I have 2 autistic children. One has elopement issues. The Board of Education, the lady I spoke to, nice lady, I forgot her name, she said, if I ever have a problem, call them or reach out, if they can help me, if I can, if I need their help. So when I told them I wanted to put a fence in front of my house because my daughter has elopement issues and we live on the main highway road, he started with he has an issue with these condescending comments and these smirks that he does. Every time you try to talk to him, it's not even like you're talking to a grown-up. I'm not kidding you. And it gets you so frustrated and furious. And he just sits there, he keeps on doing it. Well, I don't know what you want us to do. Well, we can't do that, or we're not doing this. They actually took my money for the permit, denied it, and then I had a hard time arguing with them to get the money back. They gave me a number to DOT and told me to call the number. Each number was disconnected. I went to Cherry Hill to Trenton, finally spoke to somebody, which I call the Wizard of Oz at the DET, finally got in contact with him. He told me, who sent me down here? He said, every time I turn around, there's somebody, when I told him where I was from Franklinville, coming down to this office. He said, why are they telling you guys to come down here? He said, if the fence is on your property, it's on your property. He said, we have nothing to say about that. But he gave me a letter, he emailed me a letter, and I brought it back to them. I had to do all this riding around just to get the letter. She also, Mr. Bruno, she spoke highly of you, the lady I spoke to, this Board of Education. So I emailed you.
You emailed me?
Yes, I emailed you back in 2022.
Sometimes it won't.
Yeah, no, you got the email because you must have said something to him. Because directly after the email, he emailed me. And the only person that has that's my business.
Where's 859?
Right here down the road. Not even a mile down the road.
That's the one that got a new septic system a little long.
Yeah, that's me.
A big box truck in the yard.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. So, yeah, I emailed you, told you about it, because the lady spoke highly of you. She said she went to school with you. She said, call him, he's down to earth. He'll fix it. And when I emailed you, you never responded back. You must have emailed him and gave him my email address because he emailed me on that was my business.
What was that, about a year and a half ago?
About a year ago. This is February 2022.
I remember now about the conversation about the fence.
Yeah, so he emails me, same condescending comments. It's like he doesn't get it. He treats people like crap when they come in there. He talks to them any way he wants to. And the whole point
here, this is incorrect.
Okay.
He was dealing with Barb. The document he wanted notarized had absolutely no signatures on it. It did not have Esquire on it. Another page he produced said that the John Bruno was an Esquire. There was no signature for him to sign on there. It was simply just notarizing that piece of paper with a statement on it that none of the notaries in the office were comfortable notarizing. And I said, they're not required to notarize it if they're not comfortable. There's nothing on here where you're signing it. And the document he had, he'd already signed, that he was then going to attach all this notary swearing to. They were uncomfortable. I stepped in and said they did not have to sign it.
Did you not tell me that you were uncomfortable signing it because Bruno's name was on it?
I didn't say. I said.
You didn't say that?
I said that the mayor's name was on there, and then you produced a document showing it was a lawyer, and I said, okay, but that doesn't say he's a lawyer on this paper.
Okay, you said Mr. Bruno's not a part of any firm. Correct. And I kept telling you, it has nothing to do with the mayor. She said it, then you said it, then you said it, then the other lady walked up and said it. They kept saying something about you. That's why they felt uncomfortable signing the paper. And I kept...
What else were they saying?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the papers are here. It's contradicting what he's saying because it says it all here. He said it doesn't have the attorney name on it. He just walked up listening to what the other lady told him. As soon as he said Bruno, it said Bruno, he just started saying, oh, is the mayor's name on it. I don't want to sign it. The paper's here.
Your name's
So
not on
I'm asking you. So it was you. You're the lady. So did you say something to me about the mayor's name being on
I said
there?
a few things. I said your license.
I'm asking you about the mayor's name.
I'm telling you.
No, I'm asking you about the mayor's name.
I'm not going to get into it.
Okay, she won't answer it.
Your license doesn't say Delsey Drive. Your signature wasn't on the notary, and Mr. Bruno's name was on it. That was all. No, it says.
So it's not Mr. It's not his name on there.
I just.
It's a lawyer's name, John Bruno. You said it was his name on there just now.
Your signature was not on the notary.
My signature is on the notary. You want to see
It's on
it?
the other page.
Do you want to see the papers?
I'll look at it.
And I'm not signing.
Yeah,
something.
I'll show you the papers. Yeah.
I don't have to sign something just because.
But so did you or did you not ask? Did you not say to me? Because I didn't want to tell you what was the paper, what the notary was about, that you weren't going to sign it. I don't have to tell you what it's about. All I have to do is identify myself. That's it for a notary, and I did. I gave you my license, and I told you that the other ladies know who I am, and I said I live at 859 Delsey Drive, and I come in here and get permits all the time. I said if you want me to, I will go down the street to my house, which is a quarter of a mile down the street, and go get the paper out of my car, which says my address. And y'all told me if I even did that, it's not going to matter. Y'all not going to do it. And I told him I was a registered voter in this town, and I pay $8,000 in taxes a year, and I don't complain about it. So I just find it stupid. It doesn't make sense to me. So, like I said, if you want to see the papers, it's going to contradict everything they said. It's the same papers. Yeah, thank you.
Can I get a motion to close the second public portion?
Motion to close?
All in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports?
The library has this new electronic sign out. If you haven't seen it, drive on by. It does look really nice. I'm happy to see if they'll be able to update it very easily and hopefully get a little more attention to the community center and library and the programs that we're having. And I am very sorry about the rain on Community Day. I do know we have no control over Mother Nature, but hopefully next year will be bigger.
It was brave for them to make the call. It turned out to be a call.
Yes, okay.
Just wanted to thank all the people that worked on Community Day. Even though it didn't happen, those folks all did the same amount of work. Prepared all year, raised money, organized. It's a shame that you couldn't see the fruits of the labor, but doesn't mean they didn't do the job. So fortunately, it rained. Probably fortunately, because if it did rain, everybody would be really mad at that for canceling. So we made the right call, and I'm sure next year we'll have a little more motivation. Just wanted to reiterate what Heather and Tim had said, that they did a great job. Those people work so hard, and that's like their Super Bowl. So they're going to focus their attention now to Christmas at the center. They're saying it's going to be a good one, so see what happens there. That said, need a motion to close.
Motion closed.
All in favor?
Aye.